Let me just record. I did email the last class. Thanks, Susan. Oh my gosh, all the days are blurred into one. So I'm sort of getting confused of where I'm at. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so today we're doing easy homeschool lunches, part 1. And we called it, we've decided to do it in parts because there's just so many ideas that we had, but it's very hard to pack it into one class. And we've decided that less is more. So by, let me just mute. So just by presenting less recipes during our 1-hour classes just allows us to focus more on each recipe and talk more about them, and it's probably more beneficial for you guys as well. So there will be a part 2 also on a Sunday afternoon, so keep a lookout for that one. I've just got to book that in, but it'll be throughout August. All right, so what do we have on today? So we have Carolyn, who's going to show us how to make a chicken loaf. It's a Skinnymixers recipe, that one. I'm going to show you how to make little lasagna cups, but I'm also going to show you my little tips and tricks on how to get the best bolognese sauce, because I hear a lot of complaints about the Thermomix bolognese sauce. So if you have a TM6, you're in for a treat, okay? Then we've got Sue's going to show us a really kid pleaser, which is mac and cheese, but with a twist. All right, so we'll wait for that. Paula's going to show us bacon roll-Polies, and this is a great one even to get the kids involved in doing some of their cooking as well. And I'm going to finish off with a sandwich filling that I make, which is also quick and easy, but also with a little twist. And okay, so we're going to get started with Carolyn. Over to you for your chicken loaf. Oops, I'm going to put it in speaker view. There we go.
Hi everyone, hope you're all keeping sane, because I'm going a bit crazy. But anyway, I need lots of ideas for lunches because I'm hopeless when it comes to lunch in general. So yeah, so we're going to make Skinnymixers lunchbox loaf. So this has got lots of variations all on the website, so you can see that on her website. But it's really, really yummy. I actually had to make another batch just this morning because I made it yesterday and everyone ate it all. So we'll make it again. So it is a manual cooking. It's not guided. It's not on Cookie Do, but you can find it on Skinnymixers. It's a free recipe. So we're going to start with 500 grams. So it's a really, really simple and quick. It's everything in the bowl at once, and then we'll go from there. So we need 500 grams of chicken breast. I have already weighed it. It's a little bit more, but that's okay. So 500 grams, 10 grams of olive oil. And again, if it's slightly more or slightly under, it's not too bad, but yeah, you want to sort of try and keep it on that because that olive oil will keep the moisture in.
Carolyn, have you tried it with chicken thighs?
That's what I'm using today.
Sorry.
Yeah, so we use chicken thighs. It does say chicken breast, the recipe, but we find that chicken breast can be quite dry. So we prefer chicken thigh, and it works perfectly with chicken thigh. So depends. If you like your chicken a bit drier, then yeah, definitely use breast, but we like it a bit more moist. So we're going 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of paprika. Again, you can use smoked, you can use sweet. That's up to you. A teaspoon of salt. I'm running low on salt and I don't want to go back to Costco because I don't want to go anywhere, and I really can't go anywhere at the moment if it's like everyone else in most of Australia. And a teaspoon of maple syrup. So yeah, obviously pure maple syrup is better, but you use what you have. Okay, and then that's it. So now we're just going to blend that for 1 minute 30 on speed 5. So we'll just program that in 1 minute 30. And just on speed 5 with the MC on. Sandra, do you want to go to someone else or do you want to wait?
Yeah, so I can start explaining what I'm going to do with the little lasagna cup. So I've already got it started. Now this is a mix of manual cooking and a mix of using a recipe to create the most amazing bolognese sauce that you're going to make in your Thermomix. So the first thing I did was I chopped 1 onion and 1 garlic, 5 seconds, speed 5. Very easy to remember whenever you want to chop onion and garlic. Then I put in some olive oil and I sauteed it for 3 minutes. So that's all I've done there. Your next step is browning some minced beef here. Now, to do that, I go into a recipe called, let me just go here. So now keep in mind, you can only do this in the TM6 because we are going to be using the high heat function, which is going to fry off this meat before we slow cook it, okay? So the recipe is called browned beef cubes, well done. And I scroll down and I want to get to the step where I add in the beef. Now it says to add 250 grams of beef cubes. I have done this recipe many times and I can actually put up to 1 kilo of minced beef, okay? So I just put it in and don't break it apart, just leave it like that. And we are going to brown off this meat for 7 minutes 30. And all I do is just turn the dial like that. Now, before I put in the onion and the garlic, I just chopped up 5 seconds, speed 5 again. And I did celery, zucchini, and carrot. Okay, because that's going to go in my mince. Now, because this is for my kids, I try and throw and I've also got mushroom. I try and throw in a lot of vegetables as much as I can. So sometimes it ends up being half and they have no idea. So that's going to go as soon as this meat is browned. So you can actually start hearing it and it really sounds just like you're frying it in a fry pan. It only takes 7 minutes for half a kilo. If I was doing 1 kilo, I'd probably do 9 minutes, but I wouldn't go over that because it really caramelizes on the bottom of the bowl. What I mean by that, it's going to look burnt. But then when you continue with the recipe, those flavors lift off the bottom of the bowl and just really adds to the flavor to this dish. So whilst that's frying, we're going to go back to Carolyn because I'm sure she'd be ready to go on to the next step.
All right. So what we end up with is like a mince or a paste sort of texture. I have used it with other cuts of meat where it didn't blend as much because it had a bit more fat in it. Just chop it for a little bit longer, but generally it's very pasty. So you can see that. So what I'm going to do, what I've done is I'm using the Thermometer underneath, but I have 2 layers of BPA-free Glad wrap just sitting on the top because we need to cook in that Glad wrap. So all we do is just put it along our Glad wrap. I try to make it like a loaf to start with because it's less fiddly in the end. Just take that out. Now I've still got a little bit in there that is hiding underneath the blade. So I'm just going to put my bowl back on and just flick that off, just on speed 10 for like 2-3 seconds. It wasn't even a second. So, but you can hear it. So you can hear it flicking around. And that sort of just pushes everything to the edges and you can just make sure that you grab everything. So I'll scrape all that out. Now, while I'm going to roll this, I'm just going to quickly wash it. So it says a quick wash of the bowl. And if you've done any Skinnymixers, you know that that's not a done thing. You don't wash the bowl, but we are just going to rinse it briefly because we're going to steam in this. So I'm just going to add water Sorry, my tap's not in the camera. So just to cover the blades, as you would with a pre-clean. And I'm not going to add any soap. I'm just going to spin it on speed 10. And it's this and put it in reverse. And that's like a 7-second clean. So I'll just empty that water out without spilling it everywhere. And that's given it a bit of a clean. So I'm just going to put that to the side. Now to shape it, I'm just going to dampen my hands first. So just so they're a bit moist so they don't stick. And actually, sorry, I'll point that down so you can see. So now we have our little log here, and we want to keep it a fairly consistent thickness all the way through. And I try to make it smooth because I find that if you have little cracks and bumps in it, it creates air bubbles. So I'll just get that like that. Just rinse again. And then I'm going to bring my Glad wrap over and just sort of rock it a little bit, but make sure that it's tucked under, so that it's tucked under that front section. And I actually pull it back on my mat a little bit. And then I'm going to use the Thermometer just to roll it, just so that it just gives you a little bit more stiffness. You can just use the cling wrap, but I find that the Thermometer gives you that stiffness to have it a little bit more firm. So then that's our log. We just want to seal the ends. And I'm going to tuck that over. So now I'm going to put, it says we need 1 litre of water. So I'm just going to fill it to the litre mark. If you all know, you've got your little dots on the side inside the bowl. And the one that says a 1, that's 1 litre. So I'm just going to fill that up with water. We're going to pop that back on with our lids without the MC, and we're going to use the aroma. Just pop that on top. Pop your loaf on top of that, the dish. So this is your Varoma dish. Put the lid on, and we're going to set that for 35 minutes on steaming temperature. So steaming temperature is the Varoma, the hottest, and speed 3. So if you have a thermometer and you want to use a thermometer, you can use a thermometer. You want it at 74 degrees Celsius. So we'll let that cook. And then, yeah, finished product, one that I just made earlier. So that's it there. And then I'll chop it up, and then I'll chop it up and show you the finished product at the end.
If everyone wants to see what the thermometer looks like, we sell them in our mix shop. It's called the Meter, and you can pop this into the chicken and it'll tell you. It connects to via Wi-Fi, via Bluetooth to your phone, and your phone will tell you what temperature that chicken is at. And you can use this inside an oven, the Varoma, like Carolyn just said, on the barbecue, slow cooker, and you're able to see, and it'll tell you when your meat is cooked according to what settings you put it on. It's such an amazing little gadget. I love it. All right, so we'll come back to you, Carolyn, yeah? Okay. All right, so my meat, the minced meat here is just frying. Actually, great timing, just finished. So let me just turn this one off, and I'll show you what we've done. So it's fried off that meat with the onion and the garlic. So as you can see, it keeps it quite chunky, yeah? So then the next step, so this is where it gets really exciting with the TM6 as well, apart from the high heat, is now we're going to slow cook it. So now this class is called Easy Homeschool Lunches, but this recipe is really easy. You can just set it in the morning and let it go. And then there's so much that you can do with bolognese. You know, you can then use it for lasagna. You can use it for, you know, topping for a pizza for the kids for lunch. Cannelloni, just with pasta, and the lasagna cups that I'm going to show you. So I added the all those chopped veggies. I'm going to add, so this is a can of tomato that I've pureed. It was diced tomato, but my kids don't like seeing chunks of tomato, so I have to puree it if I've got diced tomato. And to this, I add some flavors. So I add some tomato paste. I've got about 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. And I've also got sweet paprika, oregano, mixed Italian herbs, all in there, because that's just going to add to the flavor. So give that a good mix. And then what you do next is you pop your lid on with your measuring cup. We're going to get out of this recipe. So remember, the recipe for the browning of the beef was called the browned beef cubes. Okay, so we're finished with that recipe because we browned the meat. Because remember, you can only use that browning function within recipes. You can't freestyle or use manual cooking. Okay, so I swipe that way, and I'm going to go to the slow cooking function, and I'll set it for 2 hours. Okay, 2 hours on 95 degrees, or sorry, I put it on 98. That's the highest you can go. And then I just set it. And then, so that's going to cook away by itself, but I do have a finished product here to show you because I'm not going to wait 2 hours to show you. Okay, so I'll pop it aside. And this is what it looks like. So do you see how nice and chunky that is? Now, there is a recipe on Cookie Do called chunky bolognese. It's a Skinnymixers recipe, but it's cooking the sauces inside the bowl and the minced beef inside the simmering basket in the bowl. I'm not how can I say, I'm not really fond of that recipe. I think it's just really messy cooking it in the simmering basket, taking it out and then putting it in the sauce. It was just, and I find that by slow cooking it like this, just like, you know, remember pre-Thermomix days, you would cook that bolognese slowly on the stovetop, and those flavors really marinate together and really come together and just really intensify. This is what the slow cooking does in the Thermomix after you brown off that meat as well. So this is what you get, this beautiful, just with really deep flavors bolognese. Now, to do the lasagna cups, I'll show you what they look like before we put them together. This is them. They're really, really yummy. This is half of what I made this morning. Kids smashed half of them just before lunch because we had something else for lunch. We weren't having this. Now, to assemble it, I've also made some bechamel sauce, and I made it this morning, but I had it in my other Thermomix preheating. Sorry, I was using that new warm-up mode, and I warmed it up so I can use it now because it cooled down. It was quite thick. So what you do, you get these wrappers. So these are wonton wrappers. Actually, these are galgi wrappers, or you can use wonton wrappers. And I went for the round ones because in the muffin tin, it just works out better. And all you do, I did spray my muffin tin because this one can be a bit dodgy, can stick sometimes. And then you just pop them in like that. Very, very simple. And then, yeah. Leonie, did you have a question? No? Okay. And then I just put 1 tablespoon in each one. And then these go in the oven. Before I talk about the oven bit. So probably a bit less than a tablespoon, because what happened when if you overfill them, they boil out whilst they're in the oven. So you can see that this is quite chunky. It's really, really lovely. And this one is like 50-50 minced beef and veggies. But if you tasted it, it like you don't know that there's, you know, all these veggies in there. So if my kids want to, you know, have a few of them, I don't mind, because I know they're getting their veggie intake, which is important because we know how hard it is. Okay, and then I put a dollop of bechamel sauce on top. Now, the little lasagna cups in the cookie dough just, gave me this idea to turn them into lasagna cups, but I haven't followed the bolognese recipe in that recipe. And the little lasagna cup recipe also doesn't say to put bechamel on top, but I thought it would be a nice addition just to make it really creamy. And then I pop on top some grated cheese. So this is cheese that I grate myself. And I mentioned this the other day. Oops, I missed one when I did a live. I do like a 3 cheese mix myself. So this is tasty cheese, mozzarella, and a bit of Parmesan cheese. And then I just have it in the freezer for when I need it. So for times like these, I've already got my grated cheese and I know exactly what's in it. There's no, additives, preservatives with anti-caking agents and things like that. And then I just decorate with a little olive on top. And you'd have your oven preheated to 200 degrees, which I haven't yet because I've forgotten. But yeah, I'm missing one. That is all it is for your lasagna cups. And then they turn out like that. And they're really delicious. Okay, so that's my lasagna cups. I hope you guys, give the bolognese sauce a go. If you've got the TM6, I promise you're not going to regret it. But I will write out that recipe on my email, okay? All right, so we're going to go over to Sue, who's going to show us mac and cheese with a twist.
Hi, everyone. Yes, I'm doing mac and cheese muffins with a twist. I'm adding some bacon to it. This is a cookie dough recipe from America in the picnic cookbook. So everything is in ounces, but it still weighs the same. So we'll start cooking. I've got the oven on 200 degrees. So we're going to grate the cheese first. So there's 4 That's our cheese grated. Now, before I went on to cook the macaroni, I chopped up some bacon. So that was about speed 6 for 3 or 4 seconds to go in the muffins. Okay, so now I've already pre-cooked the macaroni to save some time. I have my other bowl. So there's a macaroni cooked. So we'll skip past those steps. So you just cook the macaroni for as long as the packet indicates. So it cooked for 8 minutes. Okay, so now we need 1 ounce of butter. And next, 4 ounces of cream cheese. 1 ounce of plain flour. 1 egg. Okay, a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of white pepper, and a teaspoon of cracked black pepper. I didn't quite put a whole teaspoon because I thought it'd be too peppery. So you just adjust it to yourself, what you like. And cayenne pepper, I didn't put any cayenne pepper in mine because I didn't want to. Now this really worried me. I thought this is going to mix and chop all my macaroni up. So we'll show you because I cooked some for lunch. So it's mixing at 30 seconds on speed 3 with the blade in reverse. So you can add other ingredients to it if you wanted to, like I'm putting bacon in it today, but you could chop up mushrooms or sun-dried tomatoes, zucchini, chop up some zucchini and add to it as well. There you go. So there we go. It's all mixed together and not chopped up. Now we add 10 ounces of milk. Our reserved cheese. And we'll add the bacon in. That's going to mix for 10 seconds on reverse speed at speed 3. So I was worried about when I cooked them that the mess of cleaning the patty tin after I cooked them. So I'll show you what I cooked the batch for our lunch. So there's our mix all mixed up. But yeah, I was worried that I'd have a heap of a mess in my cake tin. So here's some that I cooked at lunchtime. So these are without the cases and they come out really good. And these with patty cases. So this time I'm going to do it without the cases. You don't get quite as much. I'll just use a 1/3 cup measure to make it easier. So I got 12 out of using them with the paper. You probably get a little bit more because you can't fill it as much with the no paper, just sprayed with non-stick. Okay, so you get the idea. You go through and fill them up. And then the next step is to melt some butter in the Thermomix and add some panko breadcrumbs. Panko breadcrumbs is just your bread without the crust. So it's cheaper just to make your own. But yeah, this is the mix, just breadcrumbs and butter. You sprinkle on top. So if you had corn chips, you could add crunched up corn chips or chips on top to give a crunchy effect, whatever you like. And then they go in the oven for about 20 minutes at 200 degrees. And yeah, there we have. You can freeze those and pull them out as you want them. But yeah, my husband had 3 for lunch, so he gave them the thumbs up. So there's mac and cheese with bacon. Back to you, Sandra.
Awesome. Thanks, Sue. They look amazing. I'm sure every kid would love it. But I agree with you about easing up on the pepper and the cayenne pepper, because that sounds like a lot, doesn't it? But yeah, kids wouldn't like that. So yeah, keep that in mind when you make that recipe. Awesome. Thanks, Sue. So we're going to move over to Paula, who's going to show us the bacon roll-polies.
Hi everyone. Yeah, so I'm going to be making the bacon roll-polies. So it's just on your cookie dough. So I'm just going to bring it up now. And all we need to start with is 250 grams of plain flour, which you add to the bowl, which is what I'm just put in. And then 3 teaspoons of baking powder. And it says half a teaspoon of fine sea salt, but because I'm going to be using butter in this recipe, and it does say unsalted butter, but I've only got salted butter. So I'm just going to put a little bit, well, a lot more less salt in this. Otherwise, it'll be a bit too salty. So I've just done 1/4 of a teaspoon for that. And then we're just going to insert the measuring cup, the lid, and it's just going to mix it together for 5 seconds on speed 3. Just get everything there together. Okay, and now we need to add that butter that I was talking about. So like I said, the recipe says unsalted butter, but I didn't have unsalted butter, so I'm just putting salted butter. So they have to be cold and cubed. So 75 grams there. And then it's just going to mix that for 10 seconds. So we're just starting off making the dough to begin with. Now, it's asking us now to place a jug on the lid. And in this particular step, we have to weigh the milk. So I would have just gotten just this jug, put it on top, tared it until it said 0, and added the milk. It says 250 grams of whole milk. But I find that I don't actually use that much milk in this because the next step it says remove the jug from the measuring cup. And then it says turn the speed selected to speed 3 without setting a time. So basically now we actually need to select speed 3 because what we need to do is we need to pour in the milk slowly through the lid until it all comes together. So that's what I'm going to do. So I just have to watch at the top here. So slowly, slowly. I did make this before, and I did find that I didn't use the whole 250 mils of milk. So just a little bit more milk, I would say. So you can see the dough coming together through the top here when you're pouring the milk, and that seems like it's about right. So I didn't use all of it there. So once you see that the dough's all come together, just stop it. And now we're going to roll it out. So I just need to make some space here so you guys can see me rolling it out. I'm going to move the Thermomix to the side. And we have to just put the dough on a floured surface. So I'm going to bring this closer so you can see this. And I've just got some plain flour. And I'm just going to sprinkle it just here. Now, I'm not going to use my silicone mat because we're going to be cutting it up. We're going to be cutting up the dough, is what I should have said. All right, so there's the dough. So just take that out. Okay. And then all we need to do is we're going to quickly roll it into a rectangle, approximately 1 centimetre thick. So I'll do that quickly for you. And actually what I will do while we're waiting, because I know the next step, we need to melt some butter. So while I'm rolling the dough, I'll just go on to the next step, and it'll take about 2 minutes to melt 25 grams of butter. So I'll do that quickly here for you. Got about 2 minutes for that. Now, this particular recipe also asks for bacon straps. I don't have any bacon straps here at home. I've only got bacon, diced bacon, so that's what I'm going to use. Okay, my rectangle is more like an oval, but it's okay. It'll all work out. And in the meantime, you also need to line 2 baking trays with baking paper so that we can get it in the oven. So I did one earlier, and I'll just show you how to roll it, because you do need to keep this in the fridge for 20 minutes after you have put all the ingredients on here. Okay. So the butter's never melted. I'm just trying to get it more rectangle so it's easier to roll. And it might just be easy just to fold the sides in. So then
I was just going to say that's a cool way of getting a shape that you were folding the sides. I've never seen that done before.
It's just easier. Otherwise, it becomes like a big round oval thing. So I've done this a few times, so nearly there. All right, so the butter is pretty much melted. And the next step is just to brush the dough down with the butter. So that's just the melted butter, just to show you that. And you have to leave approximately 2 centimetres from the edge. I'll just dip that it all in there. And then the next step, it does say if you do have the bacon rashers or the bacon bat long strips, it does ask you to roll it out. We'll place it out. But because I don't have it, I'm just going to mix it in with the rest of the filling. Okay. All right. So I'm going to move on to the next bit of the recipe, which is the filling. And I'm going to have to do it sort of a bit further back here. Can you guys see the Thermomix?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to put in 1 clove of garlic. You don't have to, that's optional. And then 80 grams of onion quartered. And also 10 grams of fresh parsley leaves. And then we're going to insert the measuring cup. And that's just going to chop 5 seconds on speed 5, really quickly. Okay. And then we're going to transfer it onto a bowl, keep it on the side, but I have a second jug here, so it just makes everything quicker. And then we're going to add some cheddar cheese. You don't just have to use cheddar cheese. You can use any type of hard cheese or really tasty cheese. You can use, if you wanted to use mozzarella, that's fine. But I just think that cheddar cheese has got more of a sharper flavour, gives it more taste. And that's going to shred now. It's going to grate it, sorry, I should say. So 3 seconds, speed 8. That was quick. And that's what it did there in 3 seconds with the cheddar cheese. And then 100 grams of cream cheese. Just going to add that all in. Now, if there's anything that you don't like, again, you don't have to use it. So if you don't like cream cheese, you don't need to add that. And then we're just going to mix it all together. And this is when I'm going to get my bacon. So I'm going to get the onion, the parsley, and the garlic mixture. And I'm just going to bring it all together. Now, the actual recipe doesn't tell you to do this. It tells you to put it aside into a bowl and mix it there. But I can do it on the Thermomix. So I'm going to get the Thermomix to do it for me. So I'm going to use a manual setting here for that. And that's basically just change the blade into reverse and then just let it mix on speed 4. Probably about 5 seconds will do. That's it. And then we'll go back to the recipe. And there you go. It's just mixed everything up for you. And then we're just going to just put it here, spread it on the dough that we did before. Again, we have to leave approximately 2 centimeters from the border. So then when we roll, it'll keep it all together.
Hey, Paula, maybe move your camera a bit now.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
That's okay.
Can you see that now? Okay. So I'm going to show you quickly how to roll it. In the meantime, you can also, well, actually, because really you do need to put this in the fridge for about 20 minutes before you do cut it up. Sorry. And then just around the border, just add some water. I will do that with a brush, but I can't find it at the moment. So I think because I used it before for the butter. Okay. All right. And now I'm just going to roll that. Just bring the long side up together. So that. And then just give it a roll. Making sure that the ends are tight. Okay. And just roll it into a log just like that. And then you just pop it in the fridge for 20 minutes. Now I've done one earlier, so I'm just going to pop this one aside. So after it's been in the fridge for approximately 20 minutes, here's the one that's been in the fridge, we need to slice it up into approximately 2 to 3 centimeters thick. So just get a really sharp knife. So I'm just going to chop off this end because we don't need that. So it will make it a lot easier to slice through without squashing the dough. That's why we put it in the fridge. Otherwise, it would be too soft. So you probably get approximately 12 pieces of this. And you could do different fillings. It doesn't have to be bacon. You can just do cheese if you like. Maybe if you want to do tuna filling, it's up to you. Or maybe the bolognese one with Sandra's bolognese sauce that she did today. And then just on a baking tray, move that up. Just lay them down flat. I probably do about 3 in a row. And then once they're all laid down flat, I'll just show you what they look like. So once you've cut them up, and then after that, after you have them all down, so leave approximately 1 or 2 fingers spaces because they do grow a bit. So, and then they just go in the oven for approximately 20 minutes. So I'll come back in 20 minutes to show you the end result. I did make some today, but the kids ate them all, so sorry.
All right, thanks, Paula.
And sorry, I should just mention that other roll that I did, I'll just freeze that and just pop it out next time I need to make it. So it'll keep in the freezer.
That's a perfect idea. So if you can have these things frozen in the freezer, obviously, then you have a quick lunch when you need it. Okay, so I'm going to show you now how to do a sandwich filling, which is called coronation chicken sandwich filling. Now, I've already started this recipe just to try and keep this within 1 hour. So what I've done, I've put 1 liter of water in the bowl. And the recipe doesn't say to do this, but I thought, you know what, since I'm going to have water in the bowl, I am going to boil some eggs at the same time whilst I steam the chicken. So the chicken was here sitting on some baking paper. You can get these aroma liners from our mix shop. I'm doing half the recipe because I made this the other day. I've still got some in the fridge and then I would just have too much. So, and this will only keep for about 3 to 4 days. So I've got here 250 grams of chicken and I'll pop 6 eggs into the simmering basket because I love them for breakfast. So, but I'm also going to add an egg to that sandwich filling. So I'm going to remove the basket. Now with the egg, I want to show you a trick. I learned this the other day because peeling eggs can be bit of a pain, especially if it's really hard to get the skin off. So I tap the top and I remove a bit of the skin like that. And then I grab a spoon and I go in through there and then I move the spoon around and the egg comes right off. How good was that? I hope you like that little trick. But it saved my life with our homegrown eggs. I just seem to stick a lot. I've heard tricks of where you can put some vinegar in the water and that helps with the peeling, but sometimes it just didn't. So yeah, it's a really cool trick, Susan. All right, next thing. So I'm going to chop up some parsley. I'm going to pop it in there. It's 5 grams of parsley. Or 2.5 grams, but I do like parsley, so I'm keeping it at 5. And it says to add raisins and also some peanuts. I'm not going to add them because I know that my kids won't eat anything with raisins in it. I know it's like, I love the contrast of the sweet and the sour, sweet and salty, I mean, but yeah, they won't. So I'm just going to use my hand here. So I will leave it out. Okay, so because it's only got the parsley in there, I did need to up the speed to speed 7, because otherwise it wouldn't chop it up. So then I'll chop parsley. But now we want to shred the chicken. So I'm going to go back to the shredding of the chicken step because I needed to chop that parsley first because I'm not using the raisins. So the chicken is 250 grams in there. Just break it up with your fingers in the bowl. And there we go. And if you use the meter that I showed you before, you'd be able to, to really just be confident that that chicken is cooked. Otherwise, we know that our recipes, look, they're triple tested. I know that 25 minutes to steam chicken was more than enough. Oops, sorry, I forgot to shred. All right, here we go. 10 seconds on speed 4. Okay, so when it shreds chicken, it actually puts the blades in reverse, and then that's what you get. Oh, I was supposed to add the egg. Silly me. I'm going to put it in because when we mix it all together, that egg should. That's my little twist to this recipe. I added egg to the chicken, so I forgot to do it. Okay. Oh, the lasagna cups that are ready. Okay, so now I am going to add 250 grams of mayonnaise. I didn't make my own because I don't know how to make light mayonnaise, and I wanted light. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I did want light mayonnaise because, as I mentioned before, my clothes are starting to feel a little tight. So I went with the light. If anyone has some tips on making light mayonnaise, let me know. Now we're going to add some curry powder and some turmeric powder in there. So again, because this is for your kids, just be mindful of the curry powder because some can be quite hot, others not so much. So yeah, I've got a few curry powders here, and I tasted it. Just put a bit on the tip of my finger, and I tasted it before I used it because some are quite hot. And then we mix that for 30 seconds on speed 1. Hopefully that egg is mixed well through. I'll up the speed a bit because of the egg. There we go. And you've got this beautiful filling. You can use it in wraps. You can use it in sandwiches. I've done it with toasties with a bit of cheese. Here we go. That I'll just reduce it back to speed 1, and that's done. But if you do try this and you like raisins or sultanas, use it, put it in, because it's really, really yummy. Just that contrast of the sweet and salty. And there's the coronation chicken for your sandwich fillings. And like if you do the 500 grams of chicken, it does make a lot in one go. So yeah, but that's plenty. That was only 250 grams. So that'll last you a few days, definitely. Well, depends how many kids you have. Yes, I do try and cook what my family eats, Andrea, otherwise. Yeah, I do try and look for things that, that I know that they will eat. Yeah, so and I take advantage of, like today, it being easy homeschool lunches, that I take advantage of, cooking stuff that I'm going to need for the next few days for the kids. So it's the beauty of virtual and running a business from home. Okay, so we're going to go back to Carolyn for your loaf, so you can cut it up.
Okay, so I did cut the other one up. So that's how it cuts up. And then I've just popped it on a bread roll that I made earlier today. But this one has finished. And it comes out just like that. So generally you want it to cool down before you start slicing it. But because I like to live on the edge, I'll burn myself. I will just cut it for you. Yeah, so and another thing too, if you don't want to steam in plastic, you can actually use baking paper, or you can use cheesecloth and a string. So just tie the ends up. And then it's just a matter of slicing it with a sharp knife. So just, yeah, just like that. And that's how it comes out. I'll use a cold one because that's quite hot. But that's how it comes out. And it tastes amazing. So much better than shop bought. I've been buying it from the shops, and then when Sandra suggested this, I'm like, oh, duh, why don't I make it at home? It's so much easier. So, yeah, and the kids ate it, hubby ate it, and they're like, this is bad. So, and then there was, like I said, I made one and then there was none left. So, yeah, really quick, really simple and easy, and it lasts. Store it in an airtight container. I do believe you can freeze it. And then defrost it. But yeah, you can try it with any other sorts of meats. You can put some suggestions. I put pesto in it, or what's it called? Sun-dried tomatoes in it. Lots of different flavors. Whatever you prefer, you can add to it and go from there. So I'll hand back. Or Sue, do you want to show? You've got your mac and cheese cups ready?
Yep. Yeah, they've just come out of the oven, so there's our.
I think Sue's frozen. I'm not sure, but they look really good. I can't wait to make them for my kids because I know they love mac and cheese, and just having it snack size, bite size is just perfect for them. Now, my lasagna cups have come out of the oven, so that's what they look like. Now, I found that by letting them cool on the muffin tray, it does create condensation on the bottom, and so you don't get like a crispy cup. So you do need to remove them as soon as they come out of the oven, and then let it cool on a cooling rack so they're nice and crispy. Otherwise, they'll just go a bit soggy and not so nice. And this made 36. So my little wonton or galgi wrappers had 36 in them. So it made 36, so it makes a lot. And that's my coronation chicken filling. You can see that. And yeah, look, you can use a silicone tray. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Why not? And I think that's it. We're done. No, Paula. I think yours are probably going to take a few more minutes in the oven, right?
Mine are, but I can show you anyway what they look like.
Okay.
Okay, so here we go. Probably need another 10 more minutes, but you can see how they're like, oh, let's not slide off. But see how they're like expanding, and just the dough is growing. So it just needs another 10 minutes, I would say. And then let it cool down for about another 5 minutes, and then you can just place them on a baking, just on a platter, and the kids can just help themselves, basically. So yeah,
they look delicious.
I'll send you pictures when they're finished cooking.
Yeah, for sure. We'll pop pictures of all of this on our socials, definitely. So, well, thank you for joining. I think we're done. Thank you for joining our homeschool lunch class, part 1. Keep a lookout for part 2. We'll pop that up on our Linktree and on our socials, so you can register for that. If you have any questions in the meantime, don't hesitate to get in touch. There is a quick survey at the end. We would love to hear your feedback on the class, and also your ideas for cooking classes as well. So we want to really fill up our diary with cooking classes this month, but it would just be great to get your thoughts on them and what you would like to see. So take advantage of that survey, write in your comments, and we'll be looking at them to book our future classes, and also make some changes if we need to make some changes. So yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, thank you guys. Have a great weekend. Thank you for joining us once again. And we'll see you back here on Zoom another time. Oh, we have Wednesday night. We have Hump Day cocktails on Wednesday night. So join us for cocktails 7:30 on Wednesday, because by then I'm sure we'll all be needing a cocktail. So us, the Blade Runners, we're only thinking of you, giving you some amazing cocktail recipes. Carolyn, you're going to show us how to make your caramel cocktail?
I'd love
Wink,
to.
wink. Why not?
But cook along with us. Have a look at the recipes beforehand, ladies. And yeah,
Yes, that is a great idea. Let's turn it into a cook along. I will do that. I will send everyone who's registered the recipes, and then you can choose which cocktail you want to make along with us. That's a fabulous idea. I love it.
All of them, one of each.
You can sign off for the rest of the week.
Hey, and don't forget, Dan Murphy delivers within an hour or 2 hours.
I love it. Really? I didn't know that. That's handy to know.
Very, very good. Thank you, everyone.
Awesome. All right. See you all on Wednesday.